Hi, my name's Matt Knott, and I went to university, commenced straight after school. So I graduated here in Bundaberg from Shalom College in '97, and made my way onto campus here internally in 1998. The main reason I wanted to engage with university was I had a fair idea of the career path I wanted to take, but I wanted to see if that career path actually married up well with what I intended to study. I know that sounds like a bit of a reverse answer to the question, but I just wanted to make sure that there were the values that I held as a person actually mirrored the study course that I wanted to take. So my goals when entering uni were pretty much straightforward. Like every young fellow, I wanted to have a great time socially, and that was certainly taken care of in a number of different capacities. And I of course wanted to make sure that I was a sponge, absorbing all the knowledge that I could, and also develop peer groups around both my social circle and my studying circle. I managed to do that very well. I basically knew coming into university that it would impact my study, because when I was at high school I had impacts directly associated with my disability, so I knew in the transition phase that I would have to accommodate those things at university as well. But the great thing is with CQU is that the support's always there to help you accommodate and make the reasonable adjustments that you're going to need while you're studying. Well, I thought university was going to be quite an arduous transition in a lot of ways, but quite easy in a lot of other respects, and that's exactly how I found it to be. Arduous in not being difficult, but taking some time to adjust to. So you can think things through in your head, but you really need to wait until orientation week and your first few weeks within the university environment to know the reality of what you need to cope with. I certainly did have many chats to people that I knew who were professionals and had been in the university environment shortly before I started, and what I found was that no question was a silly question. So I asked people prior to entering university, and I asked people when I hit the ground running. I asked people at university on campus. If I wasn't sure of something, I opened my mouth and I asked, because in a typical environment, and it's the same out in the workplace, if you don't ask, you're not going to know. There's no shame in asking any question. Well, in terms of surprise, I guess one of the goals of taping these videos is to normalise the process for people with a disability thinking about entering university. And I was surprised at how once I got into the routine of university life, of exactly how normal it was, and how easy it was to relate to people, how easy it was for people to relate to me. So that made the transition all the more smoother. That was the most surprising thing for me. I had a few strategies when I started university, because I was in the middle of a swimming career where I was swimming on squads through state, national and international level. So I was a very routine personality. I had a lot of structure around my life, and it was just about fitting university life into my training schedule and all the other things that I had going on in my life. And again, because I come from that athletic background, it kind of made things easier for me. But again, that's a very individual thing for each person. So before I typically in my second year, before I moved away, I went through a little bit of generalised anxiety of flying the nest and moving away from home, as every young person does, but I was lucky enough to network with and gain a place on Capricornia College in Rockhampton, and they were more than welcoming and accommodating up there. So simple things like a ground floor accommodation, accommodation close to the dining hall, so I didn't have long distances to walk across the campus. Small practical things that meant a lot to me and allowed me to establish home away from home. Very happy on the whole I went to university, because the academic and social connections that you make, some of the social connections I've made are friendships, lifelong friendships. For instance, I've got a friend of mine who graduated. He's a practicing psychologist up in North Queensland, and he's gone on and had a lot of success, as have I, and we're catching up next week. So that's just an example of the enduring friendships you gain from coming to university. And just because you've got a disability, you're no different. I'm reminded of the common phrase in Australia that says, have a go, and that would be my message. Just stump up and have a go, because, as I said before, it takes a bit of time to adjust to any new environment, whether you're able-bodied or whether you have a disability. So don't forget that your fellow students, your able-bodied constituents in the class, are going to have pretty much the same anxieties you'll feel as well. So work with them, make sure you can relate to them, and just give it a go. Yeah.